Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 5. This week, we'll be talking about common discomforts of pregnancy and their underlying physiological rationale and changes of pregnancy. We'll be covering different organ systems and their associated discomforts, so you'll actually spend much of your time in practice addressing these exact concerns. And women come in reporting these common discomforts regularly, and so you spend a lot of time talking about them. And so I hope that this module actually starts making you feel like a real practitioner when you think about how you're going to be caring for women. So I know there's again a lot of information in this module, and each of the units has review questions that you can use to help guide your study. Most of the review questions there are physiological questions, and then there's some helpful hints that were posted in a summary sheet in the Module 5 forum, and it talks about ways that I suggest you study the common discomforts. Now, the exam that covers modules 5 and 6 will consist largely of case studies. So if you do the review questions and follow the helpful hints that I posted in the Module 5 forum, then you should know the information that you need to know to be able to do well on that exam. I posted some practice case studies in the forum also, and feel free to make up your own case studies and post them in the forums as well. You can also post any of your questions in the forum. So you'll notice that there's a Camtasia in the module introduction and objectives folder. I suggest you watch that video kind of early in the week because it'll kind of help you understand how to approach women who present with common discomforts. It also talks about the office visit that is one of your options for the final course assignment. Now, the Camtasia content will help you if you choose to do that final course assignment, but it also will help you to be successful when you think about case studies, and it goes through an example office visit case study. So the presentation talks a lot about office visits, but if you remember that it also has to do with case studies in general, and you remember many of the exam questions on the next exam will be case studies. Hopefully you'll find it helpful. Now, in Unit A, you will also see a little red line that says this is the spot where the Camtasia will be posted. There will be a Camtasia posted there about common discomforts case studies. Originally, I had thought I would just post a recorded lecture, but I changed my mind and decided I'm actually going to record it separately and post it for you all. So I'm going to re-record it and then have IT insert it there. So you should hopefully see it there in a day or two. Please watch it and consider how to apply the SOAP idea, the subjective objective assessment and plan note idea, to common discomforts and case studies. I think that this is a really helpful approach to guiding how I think about common discomforts because it kind of incorporates a lot of what you need to know. And it helps you to kind of organize how you tackle a particular symptom. If you would prefer to watch or attend this lecture as a live lecture, you can attend it in our BBC room on Wednesday this week at 10 a.m. Eastern. So as far as forum discussions go, I urge you all to participate in the forums, at least be sure to read them. Interacting with the course information in case studies like this will really help, especially for the next couple modules. Also, I encourage you to create your own case studies. Post them. You can use the forum and post them there for each other to practice with. And you'll find that this will help you to understand the information more completely as you think about a case study. You know, what is a common discomfort? What are the symptoms? What data would you collect? What would your assessment and differentials be? And what would you tell the woman about it? If you look at it in that order, then you will have good practice looking at those different common discomforts and how you deal with them in practice. Now, remember, our goal is that we want to make women the experts about their own pregnancy. So this week, we're going to be learning many of the physiological foundations for our actions and interventions about recommendations that we make to women about the symptoms that they commonly experience during their pregnancies. Remember that when you discuss a certain discomfort or a particular symptom with women, it's really important that you educate them about the etiology of that symptom and that you talk to them about when they should start to feel better, especially like if it's a symptom that's associated with a certain gestational age, like nausea, vomiting, or fatigue of the first trimester. And then you also want to discuss what that she can do to improve her symptoms, so relief measures or maybe even prevention measures that you could discuss as that's appropriate. So your module for learning activity or quiz was due a few hours ago. Hopefully you all got that turned in. You may remember only do one learning activity or module per quiz. You need to do a total of 5 quizzes and 5 learning activities. There's been some discussion in the forums about how you can keep track of what you've done. Remember, it won't be accurate until after I erase all the quizzes that were done for not for credit, but for practice. So just if you get confused about how many quizzes or learning activities you've done, you can also just email me and I'll let you know what I have recorded for you. I have graded all of the learning activities and quizzes through Module 3. Module 4's activities were due today, so I will get them graded here this week. And then I will erase all of the extra quizzes that were taken, and that should help to clear up your grades so that when you do print that report, you'll be able to see the accurate things that you have. Now, you'll need to complete also for Module 5 this week one learning activity or the quiz. You can access those learning activities if you choose to do the quiz. You just post viewing only and with your name in the forum so you can access the learning activities. And if you're completing it for credit, remember you need to turn it in before you can access the other submissions to review them in that forum. And please feel free to respond to each other or ask questions if you have questions when you read other people's submissions in that forum. That's just fine. If you choose to do the quiz on Module 5 for credit, please remember it's due, as are the learning activities, by next Monday. If you want to access the quiz for study purposes and you've already done the learning assignment for credit, it's really helpful if you can wait until after the due date to access the quiz. It just makes it a little easier for me to track the grades, although it's not a rule per se. It's just a request if you can. If you need to access it earlier, you feel like it would be beneficial to your studying to access it earlier, then feel free and I'll figure it out. When you get a grade for the learning assignment, I'll just delete the quiz grade and we'll be fine. So as far as the module readings, you should have been through with your Module 4 readings, be starting your Module 5 readings. Remember, I suggest you begin your work on the modules, and this is in that helpful hints in a nutshell sheet. Read the lecture and watch any camtasias that are located there and then move on to your readings. In the Common Discomforts modules, you'll notice that the Jordan and Varney texts talk about the clinical application of the discomfort. The Blackburn text talks a lot about the physiology that underlies the common discomforts. So I suggest you tackle the readings by first looking at the Blackburn text, reading about the physiology, completing the review questions about the physiology, and then read the clinical implications section in Blackburn and the Jordan and Varney texts. And that way you'll understand the physiology before you actually look at the common discomforts that are associated with it, and hopefully it'll make more sense. You will be able to find those common discomforts in the Jordan text if you look at the table of contents at the beginning of the text. So there's not specific page numbers, but they're all located in that same chapter. I think it's, I want to say 11 in the text, whatever's in your reading. So if you just look in that table of contents at the beginning of the textbook, you'll be able to find the specific symptom that you're looking for. You also may want to study by making flashcards for each of the common discomforts that are listed on that helpful hints in a nutshell, and include things like the subjective data. What do you think that you would expect to hear her tell you if she was having that particular discomfort? The objective data, what do you expect that you would see physically or objectively when you did an exam related to that particular discomfort? Your assessment, which is the most common normal diagnosis. Remember, we're focusing on normal in this class and not abnormal, so focus more on the normalcy of the symptom as opposed to all of the complicated differentials. But be aware of what the first or second most common differentials are. So that goes in your assessment or diagnosis area. Sometimes I think we confuse assessment and diagnosis because of our nursing terminology, but remember the assessment is the same thing as your diagnosis. So you would list your most common one and then differentials, and then in the plan you would write down what you'd expect to include in terms of education, treatment, relief measures, prevention, those kinds of things for that discomfort. All right, I hope that was helpful. The exam is available this week. Some of you have already taken it. It opened at 8 a.m. this morning and it'll close around midnight, like 11:55 on Friday night. Please be sure to have it submitted by that time when it closes so that you'll get credit. And please be sure also to follow all the remote proctor rules. And we've done pretty well so far with violations. So please just be really aware. Remember to show your whiteboard or paper at the beginning and the end of your exam. And if you get a violation, you can email me. Generally, what happens if you get a violation, it's usually something minor, like you forgot to show your whiteboard, or maybe they think the camera's in the wrong place or something like that. You'll get a stock email from them, and then you'll get an email from me that's CC'd to your advisor, just letting you know that you were flagged, and please be sure to show your whiteboard, or please be sure to check the location of your camera, that kind of thing. And then your advisor takes over from there. So if you're getting like a bunch of exam violations, then your advisor is the one who's going to talk to you about that, and not me, because I only just inform you and your advisor of when the violations happen, unless obviously it's a severe violation, in which case we move forward with honor code activity and that kind of thing. But I've honestly not had that happen yet, thank goodness. So this week, BBC Times, we have two possibilities for live interaction. The first is the Common Discomforts case study lecture that I referenced earlier that will be held on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern in our BBC room. And the second is our open office session, also on Wednesday the 5th at 5 p.m. Eastern. Please come with any questions that you have about content. You can come with example case studies. We can talk about them. Whatever you want to come with to talk about, feel free. And I am recording all those open office sessions and posting them in the media folder so that if you aren't able to attend, you can listen. But remember, if no one attends, or if only one or two people attend and they don't have a lot of questions, then there's not a whole lot to record. So we'll be answering and discussing, the cases and questions that you all bring with you. So the Common Discomforts presentation link will be recorded and posted in that Module 5 Unit A lecture area later this week that we referred to earlier, so you'll be able to see it if you don't attend it. You can always email or post your questions in the course forum. If you need to discuss something with me in person, you can arrange a phone call with me anytime. Just shoot me an email and we can work that out. I'll be happy to review your exam with you after the exam closes. As usual, if you have a general question, if you missed a question on the exam and you have a general question about it, you can say, I have some questions about this topic. Could you answer this for me? But please do not write exam questions in emails, and please do not word for word, and please do not expect a response about a specific exam question as opposed to a general content area until after the exam's closed. And I'm happy to review your exams with you. So if you do have specific questions about a specific exam item, you can certainly email me and we'll set up a time to talk after the exam closes, next weekend or the week after. You may want to take a few minutes in the near future, if you haven't yet, to listen to those Camtasias in the term assignments folder. They'll apply to what you learn throughout the course, and also I don't want you to forget that they're there. There is one that's about SOAP noting that would be helpful for you as you think about case studies and the way you approach case studies. So to wrap up, thank you all for participating in the discussion forums and in the course, and I hope you're finding this helpful and interesting material, and I know it's a lot to cover, but I hope you are enjoying learning it and enjoying learning those things that you're actually really going to do in practice when it comes to actually taking care of women. So I think it's a lot of fun to learn this information as well. So please post in the forums, and I hope to see you there this week. Have a great week.